Mine is just make your hair bigger. I fully subscribe to the Dolly Parton, the bigger the hair, the closer to God school of thought. And also, I think it's because when I get nervous before gigs, I try and make my hair as big as I can. You know, like when an animal's scared and it makes itself bigger. That's basically what I'm doing with all the backcombing.
The weird habits and rituals before I perform is that I perform my whole set to my really judgmental cat before almost every gig.
Yeah, nothing really. I'm quite dull. I just sort of, what I like to do before I go on stage is just try and think that I chose this. Because sometimes everyone's hammered and you feel, God, this is going to be awful. And it's nice to remind yourself that you've decided to do it.
I sweat a lot. That's my only ritual. Like it has its own like ecosystem. Like it goes down to my feet and then it vaporizes and it goes back up to my forehead. Like I think I'm a rainforest.
I thought I'd get loads of really sexist heckles when I started doing comedy, and I was telling an audience this because I'd written all these great put-downs for it, and I was like, but no one's ever given me a sexist heckle, and a man in the audience just went, show us your tits, but more of an apology than anything else. That's my favourite heckle I've ever had.
I did a gig at a place called the Hyena in Newcastle, and it's like a lot of stag and hen do's, and there was a person dressed as a giant penis, like an inflatable penis. And he didn't really like my set, so he tried to leave to go to the bar, but the stools were too close together, so this giant penis, it was like 10-foot penis, stood up and then had to like try and wiggle his way through the tables, and you can't come back from there. Just a standing sort of, and he was quite a patient man. He wasn't even like he was just a sort of, he wasn't really enjoying my set. He wasn't an arsehole, he was just a man dressed as a penis having a bad time, really.
Not so much a heckle, but someone once took their top off while I was gigging, and it's the only gig my mum's ever come to. And then at the end of the night they nicked the bucket so no one got paid. Rude. Newport.
It feels great to be back performing live comedy. It's really exciting. It's only my second gig back, so that's slightly not ideal, but hoping it gives me the energy to be funny rather than just forget everything that I want to say.
It feels weird to be back performing live comedy, but I'm happy because I've missed the attention.
To be back performing now, it's such a contradictory feeling, you know, because I've just developed my new career as a car washer, and now I have to go back to doing comedy now. It's really annoying. Actually, I wish I wasn't here.
I am so excited to be back gigging to actual people, not just yelling down a webcam in my pyjamas from the waist down. I've been so desperate to get in front of an audience. I'm a bit worried I'm going to be overexcited. I'm just going to vomit down myself with excitement, like when I was 3 and I went to a theme park for the first time.
I've never performed in Margate before. I'm quite excited to do it because I've walked around it and it sort of feels like it's gentrified, sort of in between gentrification, so that's always quite a nice balance because half of them are sort of hipsters and half of them hate the hipsters. So it's always quite, you know, an interesting sort of social experiment to see them in a room together. So I'm hopefully a fight or two.
I have never even been to Margate before, let alone performed here, so I'm so excited about performing to a Margate audience. It's got this really cool vibe. It reminds me a lot of where I'm from, like the North Wales seaside towns, in that it's like got a cool sort of hipstery vibe, some good charity shops, but just a whiff of heroin in the air, like all the seaside towns in the UK. So I can't wait to see what the audience is like.
What I'm looking forward to most about performing to a Margate audience is the fact that they're not an audience in Newport who are going to take their tops off in front of my mum.
I've performed here once before. It was around New Year last year, and it was great. Like the audience here is like, they're very up for it. They're very loud, which I like because it feels like they're coming from my region as well. You know, the Balkan people are always loud and shouting in a good way. So I'm looking forward to that.